How can you tell if your photos are overexposed or underexposed when you take photos of the Milky Way? Well, there's one thing you can't do, and that's look at the LCD screen. Historically, it's been useless at telling you whether your photos are properly exposed or not because of the ambient light conditions, and the brightness of the screen will completely throw off your interpretation of the exposure. So you just can't use it. Instead, we use a feature that is often overlooked by photographers, and that's the histogram. Now, if you don't know what a histogram is, don't worry, it's not confusing. It is a mathematical representation of how well exposed your photo is. It's a rectangular graph that looks like this, and there is 256 columns in it, and the exposure of the photo is effectively mapped out across all of these columns depending on how bright or dark the pixels are. So starting all the way off in column 0, are pixels that have got 0 data in it, completely black. And all the way in column 255 are overexposed pixels, completely white. And then there's a scale of brightness all the way from bright over here down to very dark over here, and the pixels are mapped out throughout it. So a photo of a Milky Way at night is probably going to have a lot of dark pixels on the left-hand side, and then just a handful of very light pixels on the right-hand side. The aim is to not have any pixels in column 0 or column 255. That means that your photo isn't under or overexposed, and you can get a good exposure, and it's just a case then of moving it around afterwards in post-processing software, and you can adjust it and move the exposure around so you can see more detail. If you lose detail in the darkness or the brightness, you can't recover them, which is why we used a histogram to see mathematically whether your photos are over or underexposed. So we always use a histogram. That might sound a little bit complicated, but go ahead and take a photo, pull up the histogram on your camera, usually just press the info button, it will come up, and you'll be able to see, okay, well, I can see this is a dark photo, which is why there's lots of pixels over to the left. Or I can see it's a very bright photo, which is why there's lots of pixels over to the right. And that's how the histogram works. Thanks very much for watching. That's just one of the 7 keys to mesmerizing Milky Way photography. If you'd like to see the other 6, go ahead and click on the link below this video, and you'll be taken through to a page where you can watch the whole video. It's everything you'd want to know to get started right away with Milky Way photography. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the whole video.